Right now is Anna Matchneva. She is a BCBA, a board-certified behavior analyst, an expert in autism, and a particular area of interest for her is inclusion preschool. We were just talking to her about how she was instrumental and had the idea to found SmileStones, an inclusion preschool. And Anna, I just so respect that you are somebody who you see a need and you decide to fill it. That's a wonderful thing. But I wanted to talk with you a little bit about advice for our parents who are watching. It's such a difficult transition time knowing when to send your child on the spectrum to preschool and what preschool to send them to. Let's talk a little bit about what is the benefit of inclusion for a child on the autism spectrum.
Well, there are certainly a number of benefits. First of all, being a behavior analyst, I had to look at research, right? What does research tell us? And the research is very clear and demonstrates that segregated preschools do not successfully prepare children with autism for entry into regular educational kindergarten.
And is that pretty much across the board, or does it depend on the child's level of functioning?
Okay, so again, interesting research that was conducted, and what it found is that children who are sort of functioning in the lower end of the spectrum, they benefited in the same way from being either in a segregated setting or an inclusive setting. So they made the same number of gains.
Okay.
It really didn't make a lot of difference for them, it seemed like. Now, for children who are sort of in the middle or the higher end of the spectrum, showed clear sort of differences and benefited more from being in the inclusive classroom.
Interesting. So,
yes.
So really, it wouldn't matter where your child was in terms of, how well they're doing, how functional they are. It's not going to hurt anybody being in inclusion.
Absolutely.
But clear benefits for children who are in the middle or to the higher end, clear benefits to be in inclusion classroom for preschool.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's what we found, that no matter what the child's skill sets are, they made great gains and benefit. And what's interesting is the higher end children who tend to sort of fall through the cracks in just the regular preschools. Because they're high functioning enough to just get by, but they don't really learn the skills that they are lacking in terms of social skill development and friendship skill development.
Okay.
But in a specialized classroom setting, we're able to tap into those skill deficits and teach them effectively.
But now when you say a specialized classroom, you're talking about a specialized inclusion classroom.
That's right.
Okay. And because here in the United States, how we consider it, if you're in the special class, the special ed class, then you're not included. And then
that's sort of a segregated class.
Okay.
That's right. No,
okay. Just want to make sure our terms are.
Yeah, in the inclusive classroom that have a behavior analyst on board and well-trained and skilled instructors.
Okay, great distinction to make. Now, a lot of people want to know what's the benefit for the kids who aren't on the spectrum, because we see that lots of people are excited about putting their child in a classroom that's an inclusion classroom, and then there are other parents who go, why would I want to do that? What is the benefit for the kids who are in that classroom not on the spectrum?
That's a very good question, and there are certainly a number of benefits, I think more than parents of typical children realize. First of all, because the school is run by collaborative efforts of early childhood educators and behavior analysts combined, we're able to provide high quality instruction to all our children and employ teaching strategies that are evidence-based, where if behavior analysts weren't involved, maybe early childhood education teachers didn't have access to those instructions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're able to benefit all children with autism and typical children. In addition, we provide very advantageous ratio because we have more teachers to support our learners with ASD, and that benefits all children as they receive majority of the instruction in small groups rather than a large group. Therefore, they have a great number of learning opportunities by interacting with the teacher in small group and receiving extra individual attention.
It's a great point, Anna. The ratio is going to be better, and not just bodies, it's highly trained bodies, more highly trained bodies to children. Absolutely, great point. You were talking earlier about when you're working with a family and you're doing an in-home ABA program, there comes a time when you make a recommendation for the family to put their child in a preschool. What kinds of things tell you that a child is ready to go to preschool if they're on the spectrum?
Shannon, this is the question that I put a lot of thought into it, and I sort of asked, are there really readiness signs? Mm-hmm. Is there a time when the child is ready? Should there be any prerequisites? And just through my experience, I come to a conclusion where really the child is ready when the parents are ready. Okay. And it's just time. There aren't really any prerequisites or certain skill set that the child should have. I think any child, no matter what their skill set is, should have a right to experience going to school and being in that educational setting with other children, being in the classroom, participating in group activities.
Yeah, I absolutely, I love your answer, Anna, because it's when the parents are ready. I'm a big believer that parents' instincts about things are usually pretty good, but also the idea of letting your child be in a social setting. We know how important it is when you get an opportunity to work on something on a regular basis. It's likely you're going to see more progress, and so giving kids an opportunity to be with other kids can hopefully help them to develop more skills in the social arena as well as the academic arena. Okay, so are there things, though, that we can do as parents at home to help our children to be ready for inclusion preschool?
Yes, I think if I had to sort of narrow it down to one advice I can give parents, I would say work on expanding and encouraging your child's interests and teach your child variety of interests, interests that are similar to a typical preschooler. And a number of our children on the spectrum have very limited interests. They're only interested in certain toys, or they want to use the toy in a certain way. So that's what I would recommend to parents. Work on expanding that, getting them interested in many different things and toys. And I'll explain why. The expanded interests give us a lot of context to work with and make a child with autism interesting to other typical peers. I'll give you an example. As my own child, who's a typical child but attended SmileStones 2 years ago and developed friendship with one of our learners who was coming to our preschool, and the learner with autism. And I asked my child, I was just talking to him at home, and I said, oh, who are your friends at SmileStones? And he was telling me the names, and he mentioned the learner's name, and they said, so, you're friends with so-and-so, and said, oh yeah, we're good friends. And then he thought about it, and then he added, Mom, he doesn't talk much. And I said, no, he doesn't. He's still learning. He's like, yeah, but that's okay. I can help him learn. But he wears firefighter boots just like me, and he loves trains, which I love too. And did you know he knows the names of all the dinosaurs, and he was teaching us at circle time.
How wonderful. So all these different places of points of contact.
Absolutely. A lot of points for other children to relate to the child with autism and make it sort of interesting to them.
Yes. Well, I think what you're doing is incredible, Anna. We want to remind everybody that if they are in British Columbia and looking for a preschool, SmileStones is the preschool that you've created there, and you're making tremendous differences there. And also, you are involved with I Step Ahead for home-based intervention if people are looking for ABA in that way. And I hope that we can call on you in the future to come back on Autism Live and talk with us about a variety of other subjects if you're willing.
Absolutely, I would love to.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time today, and I think you gave us some really good advice about inclusion preschool wherever your child is on the spectrum. Thank you so much for being with us, Anna, and we'll look forward to talking with you soon.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Shannon.